My name is Jake, and I've never believed in the blood web stories. He repaired laptops, changed hard drives, and rewired phones, the usual repairs for students and grandmothers. Until that black MacBook was brought to me. The guy in the mask was standing on the threshold of my basement, holding the equipment like a bomb. Restore the files. Offline only. Payment is made in crypto. There is a spider-shaped crack on the case and a sticker. Do not connect to the internet. Ever. I nodded like a fool. I thought he was just being paranoid. The family photos folder turned out to be hell. Instead of smiles, there are lists, usernames, passwords, and car numbers. Video from surveillance cameras. A woman in my neighborhood orders pizza, and there's a countdown timer in the corner of the screen. 72 hours. And the auction. Lot 13, access to airport cameras. Lot 27, medical records of cancer patients. I copied everything to a USB flash drive. I broke the rule by connecting my laptop to Wi-Fi for 5 seconds to check the date of the files. An hour later, the workshop was cleaned out. All the disks were stolen, even the broken ones. They only left a note. You saved 0.7%. Finish the water. There was a white powder floating at the bottom of the mug. The next day, a letter arrived. Without a theme. Text, return the remaining 99.3%, or we'll get your family back. Attachment is a photo of my sister at school. Her jacket was stained red. With paint. I didn't ask. I went to Reddit and created a thread, how to survive a data leak. The anonymous person replied with a link to the forum. He demanded Tor. I downloaded it, typed in the password with trembling fingers. The site was empty. Black background, green text. Welcome, Jake. Your rating is 1 out of 100. Do you want a raise? The yes button was blinking like a cyclops eye. I pressed it. The screen was flooded with streams. The cameras of my house. The workshop. Even the shower, where I was 5 minutes ago. The chat wrote, show us your fear, or we'll show it to you. My sister's photo has been updated. Now she was lying in the bathtub. The eyes are closed. There is a sticker on the chest, Lot 41. I ran to the police. The detective, after listening, grinned. Dark web? Seriously? Have you seen any more aliens? He showed me my file. There are screenshots from porn sites that I haven't visited. And the caption, Jacob R., 27 years old. Suspicion of CSAM distribution. At home, a new laptop was waiting on the table. Open. My life is on the screen. Correspondence, Google searches, even deleted SMS messages. The folder Victim 0 contained video of my sister taking a shower. Taken today. Audio, my voice telling me to get her out. I never said that. Coordinates, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts. Text, come here, or her blood will be in your veins. The warehouse smelled of bleach and burnt plastic. Inside there are server racks with flashing lights. There are wires on the floor leading to the laptop. The screen was showing a live broadcast. My sister is tied to a chair. Next to him is a man wearing a mask with the symbol of anonymity. A voice from the speakers. You have 10 minutes. Hack our server and she's free. No, we will send her kidneys to Dubai. I plugged in the flash drive. The files I copied turned out to be the key. Logins, passwords, backdoors. I logged into their system. Deleted the data, but the screen went blank. A shutter clicked behind him. The sister was standing with a knife. Her eyes were as empty as a fish's. They said, you sold me out. Her voice sounded strange. Now it's my turn. The mask of anonymity has fallen. Underneath it is the face of my former neighbor. The one whose laptop I fixed a month ago. Hi Jake, he smiled. You passed the first level. I searched the workshop with a knife in my hand, the same one that my sister had thrown at my feet. I took off the sockets, opened the old system cabinets, smashed the keyboards. I found a USB flash drive soldered into the board in the 2018 printer case. There are thousands of files on it with tags. Interception number 45, bank data, victim 12. A neighbor, or rather, the one I thought was a neighbor, left me a gift, a letter in a mailbox with the logo of a chat room where we once discussed football. Jake, did you think we just happened to live next door? Your workshop is our mailbox. Every third customer left information on their devices. You help like a nice courier, and now you're part of the system. Are you refusing? Look at the window. Across the street, the light was on in my sister's apartment. A masked man was standing in the window. He holds a gas tank in his hands. The details that drove me crazy. An old TV from a 2020 renovation. Inside was a microchip recording all conversations in the workshop. The client's grandmother's hard drive, instead of the grandchildren's photos, the encrypted coordinates of the deliveries. My own laptop. It turns out that I've been running a hidden VPN for years, draining traffic into the darknet. Harassment. Calls from tech support. The voice was reading my old text messages to my ex-girlfriend. The neighborhood dogs were gone. Instead, there are toys with GPS trackers on my doorstep. The nurse stopped opening the door. Through the camera, I saw her painting on the wall. He knows everything. I hacked the forum where they were recruiting couriers. My account was already there. Jake. Status, active. Deliveries, 214. Last, September 12, 2023, biological samples in a child's toy. A message popped up in the chat. Mission 215. Take the box to the park. Put under the bench, or we'll put your sister in there. There's a child's teddy bear in the box. There are tubes of blood in the stomach. Label, leukemia, for years old. A clean sample. The police took me in a ring by the fountain. They shouted on the ground. I hugged the bear, feeling something burn my skin. I could hear my sister's voice in my ears. I'm sorry. They said you sold me out. But I understood everything. Pain exploded in my chest. The bear hissed, releasing a cloud of gas. The last thing I heard. Courier 215 has been eliminated. We are starting the search for a new one. I woke up in a hospital room with a tube in my throat and burning pain in my lungs. The monitor beeped rhythmically, but the nurse behind glass did not turn her head. There was an envelope with the clinic's logo on the bedside table with an X-ray inside. My chest, and next to it is an inscription. A toy grenade is our best product. It's a pity you didn't appreciate it. I was released 3 days later. I returned home in the rain, but the workshop door had already been broken into. It's clean inside, not a speck of dust. Even the desk I worked at for 10 years is gone. Only a QR code is drawn in white chalk on the concrete floor. I scanned it with my phone and got on the stream. My sister was sitting in a room with green walls, reading a book. Title, How to Become Invisible. The chat was flashing messages. She's alive because you're alive. Do you want a new assignment? I smashed my phone against the wall. He poured gasoline on the workshop and set it on fire. I stood in the rain and watched everything I touched melt. But someone else's smartphone was buzzing in his pocket, the one that was in the mailbox. On the screen, congratulations. You have been selected for Mission 216. Deliver the sample to pickup point number 45. Address, Children's Playground Sunny. Put it under the slide. Or, photo of mom buying groceries. A red circle on her back. I found a schoolboy's backpack at the pickup point. Inside there is a thermos with liquid nitrogen and 3 test tubes. Labels, DNA sample 78A. Age, 6 years old. Purpose, bone marrow transplantation. I sat down on the bench, trembling. The question kept running through my head. How many times had I unknowingly helped them? I was fixing a laptop with broken Wi-Fi, and there were delivery schemes. I changed the screen for a guy who paid with crypto, and his phone hacked into hospital databases. A child screamed nearby. A girl about 5 years old fell off a swing. I rushed to help. She clutched my arm and whispered, "Uncle, the man with the green scarf is looking for you." I looked back, and the man at the sandbox was looking right at me. A knife flashed in his hand. Not a knife, but a scalpel. I ran, clutching my backpack to my chest. I ran into a woman with a wheelchair around the corner. An envelope fell out of her bag. My name. Inside is the key to the bank's vault and the coordinates, 58.2842, 8.4921. I inserted the key in the bank with trembling fingers and received a drawer. Inside, a passport in my name with someone else's photo. A letter from the sister. They have given me a new life. Now it's your turn. The flash drive with the video. I'm sleeping in my bed. The date is tonight. On the way back, I noticed that a garbage truck was following me. Number, and 215. The same number as in my last mission. I'm writing this now in an empty hangar where I was brought blind. On the table in front of me is a laptop, a pistol, and an ampoule with the inscription Pravda. The chat screen is blinking. Choose. Kill yourself and we'll free your sister. Join us and you'll find out who her kidney was sold to. Or, I open the ampoule. It smells like almonds. Cyanide? The antidote? It doesn't matter. The main thing is the flash drive in my pocket, the one from the bank drawer. It records how they bribed the police. The names, addresses. If I survive, it's over. If not, the lock clicked in the hangar. I raised my pistol, pressing my back against the cold wall of the hangar. The footsteps outside the door slowed down as someone entered a code on the panel. The light of the lantern splashed through the crack, and I saw a shadow in a hood. I didn't wait. He shot into the lock, kicking out the door, and yanked blindly, clutching the flash drive in his fist. A garbage truck with the number and 215 was waiting for me. The cabin was empty, but the engine was running. I jumped behind the wheel and stepped on the gas. Figures in black flashed in the mirror. One was pointing a camera at me, the other was shouting into a walkie-talkie. I plugged the flash drive into the radio. Instead of music, the synthesizer's voice says, "The route is set. Next goal, Sirius Shopping Center parking lot." The navigator's screen lit up with coordinates. The parking lot turned out to be a giant concrete box. I drove up to the 3rd floor, where a lone car with an open trunk was waiting for me. Inside is a laptop and an envelope. There's a child's drawing on paper. I'm on fire, and my sister is waving her hand. On the reverse side is the code, XK319. The laptop started a Skype call. On the screen is a masked woman with a voice modified by the program. "Hey Jake, you don't look like a cockroach, but it's cute. Do you want to save your sister? Enter the code into the terminal on the 1st floor. The elevator is broken." I ran down the stairs, tripping over the trash. The terminal is a regular ATM. I entered the code. The screen went blank, then it flashed. Withdrawal, 1 kidney. Remains 1. A map popped out of the slot. On it is the address of the clinic and the time, 2300 hours. Operating room 3-inch. Then a muzzle poked into my ear. "Move." The man's voice behind her was familiar. The police detective who laughed at my fairy tales. "Are you their roof? We are realists. Did you think you weren't being followed?" He pressed the barrel. "Now you're a donor." There was a muscle relaxant 4 waiting for me at the clinic. There's a nurse in the next bed. Her eyes looked right through me. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "They said you agreed." The surgeon came in with a tablet. "The auction is on the screen." The stakes on my liver were rising by the second. He turned on the saw, but then the walls shook. Sirens. Riot police burst in. Gunshots. I fell to the floor, dragging my sister by the hand. "It's over," the detective shouted, shooting at the surgeon. "You're under arrest." We ran out onto the roof. A helicopter with a searchlight roared above us. The detective pushed me towards the stairs. "They bought everyone." The nurse suddenly stopped. "Jake, I'm so sorry." She took a syringe out of her pocket. "I cannot." And she stuck the needle in her neck. Her body jerked, falling at my feet. There was panic in his eyes, then emptiness. I jumped off the roof onto the fire escape. The phone buzzed in his pocket. "Mission 217. Take the body to the laboratory, or we'll revive her so that you can kill her yourself." I ran through the dark streets, dragging my sister on my back. Her arms dangled like a puppet's. There was a ringing in my ears. "Deliver the body. Let's revive it. Kill me." There was a van waiting for me at the intersection with the doors open. The familiar smell of formalin is inside. There were test tubes with my name on them on the floor. "Welcome home," said a voice from the speakers. "You're part of the family now." The door slammed shut. The engine roared. Somewhere in the darkness, the screens lit up. They represent my life. Every step, every thought. And then I saw her, sister, on the monitor. Alive. She was smiling and waving her hand. "Hello, brother," she said. "Thanks for giving up." And the screens went blank. The van braked sharply, and I hit my head against a metal wall. The door swung open. In front of me stood a building that looked like an old factory. The neon letters above the entrance were flashing. Biogen Labs. The future begins here. My sister, or rather her hologram, disappeared from my head, but the smell of her perfume remained, a mixture of lavender and something chemical. I was pushed into an elevator. The descent took forever. -5 floors. The doors opened into a snow-white corridor with cameras in every corner. There is a poster on the wall. "Welcome to the Phoenix Project. Your DNA is our legacy." In the laboratory, people in protective suits were swarming behind the glass. There are hundreds of test tubes with names on the shelves. Mine stood alone, marked priority. Replication, 97%. "Congratulations," said the masked man, entering the room. I recognized the voice right away. It was the neighbor who brought that fateful MacBook. "You passed the selection. Now you're a model." He took off his mask. Face. My face. Or rather almost. The scar above my eyebrow, which I earned as a child, was mirrored here. "A clone." I managed to say. "Better. You're version 4.3. I'm 4.4. And she's..." He nodded at my sister, who came in with a folder. She was smiling, but her eyes were empty. "We're not related, Jake. We are an experiment. Dad sold us out back in 2003. She opened the folder. Photo, me about 5 years old, in a lab coat. There are dozens of similar children nearby. Everything is with my eyes. "Your DNA is the perfect carrier," the doppelganger said. "We copy consciousness, transfer it to new bodies. You are a marriage. Your escape from the system is a bug, but we will fix it." I was strapped into a seat. A helmet with wires was lowered onto his head. The screen in front of me blinked. Memory usage, 98%. "Don't resist," the nurse whispered. "You will become perfect." But I remembered a detail. In the workshop, when I hacked the server, I noticed the file black box. Emergency reboot. The password was written on my hand, the one I put on the router. Admin/admin. With a trembling finger, I entered it into the terminal on the arm of the chair. The screen went blank. Sirens wailed. "What have you done?" "Stop it," the doppelganger shouted. The laboratory went red. The windows burst. Liquid gushed out of the test tubes, dissolving everything in its path. The nurse fell, clutching her throat. "Help." Her voice became my voice. I broke free, ran through the chaos. The doppelganger chased, firing a syringe of poison. The elevator wasn't working, so I had to climb into the ventilation. The pipe burned my hands, but I crawled until I collapsed into the utility room. There was a phone on the table. One message: "If you're reading this, they're already dead. Run. You're the only original." I got to the surface. The factory was on fire. A police helicopter was circling in the sky. But when I screamed, the spotlight went out. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I picked up the phone. "Well done, Jake," his sister's voice said. "The real one. Now you're ready for the truth." And the connection was interrupted. I was standing on the edge of the road, hundreds of meters from the burning factory. Police sirens and screams combined into a deafening hum. The phone in my hand vibrated again. On the screen, there are coordinates and a voice message. "Go to the river. It will all end there." River. The very place where my sister and I used to catch crayfish in childhood. The grass was flattened, as if someone had recently passed by. There was a laptop on the rock. I turned it on, and the screen showed a live broadcast. She was sitting in a white room, chained to a chair. Real. Not a clone, not a hologram. Her eyes were red from crying, and her lips were trembling. "Jake," her voice trailed off. "They implanted a chip, don't believe it." A man came out from behind the frame. The surgeon from the auction. In his hands is a syringe with a black liquid. "Last exchange," he said. "You're for her." I didn't have time to answer. A blow in the back knocked him down. His arms were twisted behind his back. The scalpel blade hovered over his face. "Don't be afraid," my doppelganger hissed. "We're just going to bring you home." They dragged me to the van. At the last moment, I pulled away, hitting the guard in the nose with my head. He grabbed a fallen branch, rotten and crooked, but the doppelganger pulled out a pistol. "Shoot." I shouted. "I'm not going to be your rat anyway." Shot. The pain hit my shoulder. I fell into the water. The current dragged him down, and an explosion was heard above the shore. The van flew into the air, showering with fragments. When I got out on the rocks, I saw her. Sister. She was stumbling towards me. In his hand is a syringe with an antidote. There, they injected me with... She fell down, gasping for air. "Chip explosives." Her body jerked. The implant in his neck flashed red. I crawled away, but it was too late. The roar was deafening. When the smoke cleared, all that remained of it was a ring, our common one, with the inscription, "Forever." I found a flash drive in the pocket of my wet jacket, the one from the bank drawer. I put it in a laptop that survived the explosion. Folders, videos, documents. Whatever it takes to burn down their world. But the first file was a video. I was about 10 years old, in the laboratory. They're giving me the drug, and the doctors are arguing. Consciousness is erased. We're starting to implant false memories. I'm not Jake. I am Sample 4.3. The real Jake died in an accident at the age of 7. They raised me to become a courier, so that my fear, rage, and instincts would make them richer. I'm writing this in an abandoned house right now. My blood is slowly oozing out of the wound, but I uploaded everything online. Every forum, every media outlet, every black chat. Let them see. Let them know. There is a pistol with 1 cartridge on the table, and an ampoule with the inscription Freedom. I choose an ampoule. If it's poison, I've won. If not, they'll regret giving me a choice.